Hey guys, welcome to this video. Okay, it's the LS1 project, doing two at once, and I'm just going to tell you, I just about overloaded my ass with these two. These things have been brutal. Oh my gosh, I think next time I will just do one knife at a time, particularly if I do an LS1. Perhaps the LS2s. I want to do two LS2s. Might be able to do two of those together. This has just been two together. These big blades, I bit off a lot and I got all I wanted, just let me tell you. They're coming along really nice. It's just yeah, I had to put these rubber gloves on. I burnt my finger right here, so I've been wearing these gloves over underneath the rubber gloves. But yeah, they're looking real nice, and we are doing the primary grinds. I'm doing the primary grinds right now, and these are hollow grinds is what I'm producing on my 10-inch wheel. So we produce a nice hollow grind that's pretty standard. If you go buy a hollow handle, or not hollow handle, yeah, go buy a hollow handle. If you get a hollow grind knife, you know, if you buy a knife that has a hollow grind, this is pretty standard. The 10-inch wheel is what they're using, so that's what I'm producing here. And what's really neat, I'm going to set up my camera here in a minute, and I'm going to work on these some more, because I'm finishing up. You see the primaries are coming in. We're almost about zeroed. So what I'll do is I'll leave a little bit of meat there. It's going to be about a 1/16 of an inch, and like 1 millimeter, so that we have that there when we heat treat. Because if I bring this down to zero, for one thing, this larger blade being, it's going to be a bushcraft because we're going to have serrations. I don't want to end up with a, you know, straight razor blade profile. Not on these. So we'll end up with a 10-degree secondary cutting edge. It'll be around 10 to 15 degrees. And so regardless of whether I do a straight razor blade profile or I do a 10 to 15 degree, I always leave around 1 millimeter of steel along this center line. And I've been keeping an eye on my plunge lines. Everything's perfectly centered. And then I've got a little bit more. I've got quite a bit more to take off of the clip points. We're going to bring those down to zero where they're sharp. You know, we can have a sharp edge on there. But yeah, they're just coming along real nice. And so let me get set up, and I'll show you kind of what I'm doing on my 10-inch wheel. And I apologize for we've got a hound dog going off back here. Now, these clip points, I'll end up beveling them over just a little bit more, so when we get to this bifurcation here, where the bevel comes here and you got a bevel here, it bifurcates. It'll probably end up coming back just a little bit. So that's generally what happens when I finish off the clip points. This point, the bifurcation point, comes back a little bit, which is fine. I like where the bevel meets the clip point. I like those when they come back and they're kind of got some length to them, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and set up, and we'll work these on the 10-inch grinder, because I'm still got a little bit to go. You know, not much, but I thought I would stop here so we could set up, so you could watch me work it on the grinder, so I can show you how to do these. All right. Let me make sure my camera's, yeah, looks about right. So I'm using an 80 grit, and I prefer an 80 grit. I was thinking about going down, like, I may get a 60 grit. I think 60 grit will work really good. You can go down to a 40 grit. 80 does it to where it doesn't take it off too much. I'm thinking 60 grit is really what I need, so I'm gonna be ordering me some 60 grit, and it'll hog it off a little bit quicker. So let me get my gloves on here, and we'll get with this here, and I'll kind of show you. This slow speed, I've got a 1/2 horsepower motor, and that kind of really is where all the magic is. It's, since we got a slow speed, it really allows me to, it just makes these hollow grinds shine, because if I had a medium speed, or even if, you know, if I was going faster RPMs, your blade's going to get too hot. So this allows me to really do this type of hollow grinds. You can see we start out at 7/8 wide here. We're almost at 1 inch once I reach this point. And these Jack Crane style knives, they tape. I didn't even realize this till recently, but they belly here, and they go down the whole blade, and then this one here tapers down as well, which it does. Once I did that, it gives it that Jack Crane look. Really gives it that. These are going to end up 9 1/4 inch blades. I was going to keep it at 9, but in the past, when I've made templates for these, I always end up a little bit less than the template. So I think next time I may just make a template at like 9 1/8 or something, just a little bit over 9. But these turned out where they'll be 9 1/4, which will be fine. And they're starting to lose some weight once I do the serration cutouts. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just angle the sides, just so that it looks like an original, you know, as close as possible. Now, Mark Tetcher makes his, he makes some either way. Some of his have the angled serrations, you know, on the sides. I really like I like it without them, because they do notch better. But regardless, you know, I want it to look as close to original as I can. And of course, I got the chole to get that as close as I can. We're getting there. So once I get these primaries done, and I get the clip point, I get it nice and pointy, get the nice hollow grind, everything's symmetrical. We got a little bit less than a 1/16 on the cutting edge. So when I come back and do my 10 to 15 degree secondary cutting edge, will be golden, you know. And then but before I do that last, I do that actually after I heat treat, temper, and get these sandblasted. Excuse me. But next, once we get the beveling done, I'm going to go ahead and get the serrations lined out. See how it's coming along real nice. Let's go ahead and fire this up, and I'll just kind of show you. What's cool is, another thing I wanted to mention is, when I'm profiling this on this 10-inch wheel, these blades are perfectly wide enough that's 2 inches, and I just noticed this on these, but I can darn near set that blade right on the deck here, and just get a perfect, it just like acts as a like a jig. And this thing, the grinds are just coming out outstanding. Look at those. I had this red Sharpie this morning. I was thinking, man, I need to bring that up a little bit more, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at that. It looks. I looked at a bunch of JC, you know, knives, and a template that I was sent, a spec, and it's got a little bit of space right here before the clip point starts. So let's go ahead and fire this up. I'll quit jabbering. Show you what it is. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to go one side and then back the other side because we're already symmetrical, and that keeps everything going down great. So when I start out on that, this is about 7/8 inch wide, 7/8. So I start out here, and when I start working down, I actually twist my blade a little bit like that. You may be able to see, get to this point about right there, and I just do a slight tilt. Keeps it right on that grind track. I'm gonna have to track it, and I can kind of see right there. I'll hit that, so I'll come up. I'll do a couple more here. I'm gonna have to get it up just a little bit. It's coming out really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this other one. And I appreciate you guys, and yeah, we're getting there. I hit 3 right there on that clip point, so I'll do 3 the other side. We're getting there. Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna get, there's some little spots right here, right up along of that bevel line. I'm gonna get those and get them nice here. Three. Nice. I did 3 passes. It's just going to take a couple more. Cool. I'm going to do 3 the other side. This blade is pretty close to almost there on the primaries. Two. One more. And I'm getting those little tracks, I call them. Oh yeah, got them. It's nice. There's a little track there. I call it a track. A track. I call these tracks. They're just little. They're underneath grinds from my 4.5 inch grinder. Just a little spot. I'll get that. It's no problem. But I make sure I get all those little tracks out. There's one little one right there. I'll catch it. There's a couple of little spots right there, and I'll catch those as well. Everything's coming out nice. Right here on the lower section, I'll have to run some passes and smooth this out. But you can see that it's perfectly centered. And see how there's some meat here at the tip. We'll get that over on the 4-inch wheel. So what I do on the 4-inch wheel is I pretty much kind of like work them like this. You know, that got that 4-inch wheel over there, so I work them like this, like down, and I bring those in, and I use my high-powered jeweler's glasses for those. So we'll get these perfectly so that bevel line stays perfect. This one's perfectly centered. You can see this one's just a tad bit lower, so that's where I'll get those centered up with my high-powered jeweler's glasses on the 4-inch grinder, working the tip up. Everything's looking really nice.